Hi, today I'm pumped because Marina from Marina and the Diamonds just released an album called Princess of Power, and it is such an homage to Sailor Moon. I love Sailor Moon, so I've gone full Sailor Moon theme today, and we are going to play the title track, Princess of Power. Also, use it as an opportunity to display all of the Sailor Moon crafts that I have. So this picture I've probably had from when the internet first happened, and like you had to get internet on CDs, and it took like a day to download a picture. So this was one of the first things I ever printed on the internet because that's how long I've loved Sailor Moon. So one of the coolest homages I think she did in this album is actually the cover art. So that is very representative to Sailor Moon's transformation when she's going from Serena to Sailor Moon. And I think that's really cool because one of the crafts that I did is Sailor Moon mid transformation. So I think Marina and I are in tune, and this is a really fun tune to play. I haven't done it with the music yet, but I did do a couple dry run throughs with just the keys. Where it does get a little bit confusing is there's 3 variations of D that you have to move between on this. So there's D sharp, and then there's D sharp minor. So that's where I think I might get hung up a little bit, but even still, I'm really looking forward to playing this song now. Also, it gave me an excuse to bust out the space buns again. These are Sailor Moon inspired space buns because they look like the little red dots in her meatballs. That's what Tuxedo Mask always called her, Meatball Head. That's why this says Shine Bright, Meatball Head. One of the things that I love most about Sailor Moon is she was really ridiculous and super, super klutzy, and she didn't really want to be the hero, and she didn't want to fight the battle, but you would never guess that she was Sailor Moon because she was so ridiculous. But when it came down to the battle of good and evil and someone needed to save the day, she could always rise to the occasion and do what needed to be done to fix the solution of the day. I really love Sailor Moon. Some people turn into Disney adults, but I'm still waiting for the day that Buffy, Sailor Moon, and Power Rangers come back. I know Power Rangers had a movie a couple years ago, but I thought that there would be more Power Rangers movies, and there's still only been one. I did hear Buffy's coming back, though, which is good, because I don't know if the Hellmouth's opened or what, but I think we could use Buffy in the world right now. But a live-action Sailor Moon, I would absolutely love that. All that to say, I'm really excited to play this song, so without further ado, we're going to play Princess of Power by Marina. Come along for the ride. And I'm going to put it on stereo piano because this is a bit of a dancey song. Oh, I'm nervous. All right, let's do this, Marina. Don't let my overexcitement for the random opportunity to talk about a 30-year-old cartoon take away from how good of an album this is. I'm reluctant to say I like it more than Ancient Dreams in a Modern Land, though, but only because I know I'm biased towards Sailor Moon. Oh, I'm gonna restart that because I was behind. I was looking here and I should have been looking there, but I'm already getting stuck on all of the different Ds. That's okay, because that's what practice is for. Put it this way, Marina is a bit of an oddball, and I feel like she could be the love child of Charlie XCX and Dua Lipa, but takes a more conscious approach to her music. So I would say Ancient Dreams in a Modern Land is like her future nostalgia, but Princess of Power is her brat. Oh, I was still on track. I'm gonna try it again. It was that move to from C to C minor. Okay. It's a lot of variations of the same chords in this. Like there's C and C minor, and then there's 18 versions of D. The Princess of Power album is introspective yet upbeat with a real digital vibe to it, like a video game. But there is also a song called Hello Kitty and another called Final Boss, so I'm inclined to believe that this was all intentionally video game anime kind of theme. Oh, I missed it in the same spot. C. Oh, see, I only have to move one finger. So it shouldn't be as complicated as I'm making it. Oh my gosh, like the arcade Sailor Moon hangs out in. That makes so much sense now. There's another song on the album called Je ne sais quoi, which is the best way to describe what I love about Marina's voice. It's unique yet familiar and in a way sounds classical, but is versatile and very layered. She sounds very celestial to me. So the Sailor Moon theme feels very appropriate now that we're talking about it. Now, I haven't watched the show in years, though I've been wanting to give it a rewatch, and I've never read the manga, so I might mistake a couple details, and I think there are a couple details that vary between the two, but bear with me, because there are few things I love more than either an underdog story, a reluctant hero, and or ordinary people who do extraordinary things. Sailor Moon is like all three, even if she's a fictional character. There are real life examples of that, though, too. Displays of resilience and humanity, even in the face of the most trying circumstances. It's fucking beautiful. In Serena's case, she found a talking cat and learned she was an alien princess sent to Earth to fight the dark forces. She just wanted to be a normal teenager, and taking things seriously was not her strong suit. Came across as ditzy, inept, whiny, dramatic, and odd. She didn't have much confidence at the beginning and struggled with imposter syndrome throughout the show. Serena wasn't the smartest or the strongest, most well-trained or experienced or equipped of the Sailor Scouts, but she was able to embody a little bit of everything. So while the others had their areas of expertise, she was able to channel and balance significant aspects of all of them. And I think in a lot of ways, that's what makes a good leader. Knowing how to play to the strengths of your team and know enough to be able to see a fuller, bigger picture. Maybe it's the Reiki, maybe it's make-believe, but this is why I like Reiki and the concept of energetic alignment. Okay. Now that I got the first couple notes down, that is a lot of fun to play. So I'm going to run it back a few more times because I think that was pretty easy. It's just a matter of getting the progressions, and there are a couple spots where it does change pretty drastically and there's like a random chord thrown in there. So I'm getting kind of hung up on there, but again, this is what practice is for. So just gonna run it back and run it back again and run it back again. Also, it's difficult because Marina sings in a register higher than I can even reach. So as much as I want to sing, it's definitely going to ruin the video if I do. So I can't do that. So I'm just jamming mostly. From my personal experience, there's strength in balance, and that can come in different forms. I consider it also being able to see the bigger picture from different perspectives, just because you've experienced different things. If you look at the Sailor Scouts, none of them would have hung out together under any circumstances other than they were chosen to save the world together. They were just not each other's kind of people. but they all brought a valuable piece to the table, and they all played a role as part of the team. But all of them were needed to overcome the challenges that they faced. Because of Serena's temperament, she was a bit of an acquired taste. A lot of people weren't great to her or made fun of her a lot. Even Darian slash Tuxedo Mask calling her Meatball Head wasn't originally intended as a term of endearment, though it eventually became one. There wasn't a lot of faith in her capabilities as a person, let alone when she turned into Sailor Moon to be a leader, and people didn't even really take her seriously, like in any aspect of life. At the same time, though, no one knew about the battles she was facing aside from the other Sailor Scouts, and they didn't all meet each other right away. Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, and Venus came in individually at separate times later on. So for a while it was just Serena, and Tuxedo Mask would come in and bail her out if she needed it, because she was still learning. On top of that, who was going to believe that she was fighting monsters from an alien universe? It would sound insane. At least Buffy had a watcher for guidance. Now that I'm talking about it like this, I definitely see some correlations with Buffy. Sunnydale just thought she was peculiar. I'm really struggling to say that word. And she was treated as an outcast for the longest time. But every time a supernatural event occurred, she knew what to do and would come through to save the day. In both cases of Buffy and Serena, it was just back to normal life after every battle. There was barely memory or recognition from those who were saved, let alone a thank you. But also, in both cases, a thank you wasn't required because their purposes were greater than that. Serena and Buffy both knew it, whether anyone else did or not.
Oh, I missed that.
And they actually both wished that they didn't have to live those lives either and just wanted to be normal. I feel like there's a very appropriate Megan Thee Stallion lyric here. They were chose, they never asked to be this motherfucking cold.
Welcome to my world, princess of power. It says I got 100%, but I'm still gonna run it back because I want to. And there was a part that I got stuck on and I had to catch up a little bit.
At the end of it, the one who usually saves the day is the one who doesn't chase clout, but is chasing purpose. I would also argue that the one most likely to turn out to be the hero is the one that was most reluctant to accept the role to begin with. It makes their intentions more pure when having to balance acting from a place of duty with acting from a place of integrity.
I lived the sweet and I lived the sour, living life locked up in a tower. But now I'm blooming like a flower. Welcome to my world, princess of power. Stuck in a loveless generation, ready to go through a transformation. I'm gonna glow like a meteor shower. Welcome to my world, princess of power. Couldn't run it back just because it's fun and I want to practice it.
One of my favorite quotes of all time from Spider-Man is with great power comes great responsibility. And in so many instances of characters who are chosen to shoulder the weight of heavy responsibilities, I think it's important to recognize the pattern of those who understand the weight and importance of what they're carrying with them. Buffy prevented like 4 apocalypses and died twice. I'm pretty sure Sailor Moon died at least once, Tuxedo Mask was captured, they were on the brink of a Stranger Things-esque dark alien takeover, both fought many battles and opponents at length, repetitively. But in both shows, like they're in fucking high school. I think Sailor Moon is only supposed to be like 15. That's a heavy burden to carry, especially so young. Like, maybe I think about this shit way too deep, but all I can think of is what happens if the aliens do try to take over and our chosen one is a 15-year-old of today who lives on TikTok. What are we going to do? Fully embracing the tinfoil hat at this point.
Okay, I am still struggling with the pre-course in two spots. Running it back.
So that's a lot of responsibility to carry. And fortunately for Serena and Buffy, they had support and people they could rely on, even if they didn't fully understand what was going on. Something that I find interesting that I think is worth noting for both situations is that both heroines were the most capable and equipped of solving the problems on their own.
Ooh, I missed that. That was supposed to be a C.
Like solo quests that needed to be completed before being allowed to rejoin the group. And the solo missions were based on overcoming a particular set of fears.
Looking like a superheroine, I taught myself how to love again.
And that was one of Serena's biggest challenges throughout the series, was having to overcome many things that she was afraid of, take risks she didn't want to, and trying to be confident that she was making the best decisions that she was able to make within the circumstances through her various battles. Another reason I love both Serena and Buffy is because they don't abuse or flaunt the power either. It's just a quiet strength, maybe less quiet in Serena's case, but more of a quiet strength and preparedness in knowing.
Yes. I live for sweet and I live for sour. I'm living life locked up in a tower. But now I'm blooming like a flower. Welcome to my world, princess of power.
They can transform into heroes in an instant, but secretly long for a day off from battle. One where they can have a normal day like many of their peers would, without having to be on call to protect against the villains at any given moment. All they want is peace in worlds where bad guys never rest. Which is a great segue back into the song we're playing today.
You know what? Okay, that run through was really good, but what I'm going to do is it again because I want to, but also because I'm going to try it with the pedal. So, going to give it a go.
Sailor Moon's whole thing was being the champion of justice, righting wrongs and triumphing over evil. In Princess of Power, Marina beautifully sings about overcoming injustice without force, finding personal power in truth, and combating hate with continued love. All I can say is girl preach. I firmly believe that hatred breeds more hatred, but love breeds more love. It's about what you nurture. It's not always going to work because some hearts just aren't open to it. There are others who can't comprehend that responding with love is even an option because it hasn't necessarily been an option in their world or their lives. To me, that indicates and underscores yet another reason we should really focus on love and treating others the way that we want to be treated to foster more of that. Every day for the last 5 or so years, I've tried to be a better version than the day before of myself. The circumstances are enough to send people into a spiral, and it would be easy to devolve and get consumed by hatred. But that's not me. That's not who I am. And I choose love because I still believe in the goodness of humanity. I just see less of choosing love, but that's why I find it so important for me to continue choosing love. Be the change you want to see.
Losing love don't make you weak. It's a superpower indeed. Can't you see?
Marina's singing about how love isn't a weakness, it's a superpower if you embrace it. And how it's not about how much you are loved, it's about how much capacity you have to give love. And operating with this understanding is incredibly freeing.
Too early on the end. Okay, gonna run it back one more time so I can hit that D sharp minor in the second pre-chorus. And I'm gonna say that I'm only gonna play it one more time, but it's probably gonna be 2. So we're just gonna give it a go.
I feel like I can corroborate that. It allows for moments of peace in times of conflict, but it's a choice, and sometimes hurt makes peace hard to choose. But the more you choose and operate in love, the closer you can stay to that baseline of that being your default. Because not everything has to be a fight, and it's a delicate balance trying to find where to choose yourself and how that correlates with choosing love for others. I know. Because that's exactly the spot I needed to do well on, so because I didn't, I'm going to try it again. Even though I get an absorbent amount of hate, and intentions toward me are usually ill, two wrongs still don't make a right either. I'm not the type of person who enjoys seeing other people suffer. To me, I enjoy trying to make someone's day. Where I get a little weirded out is how taken aback a lot of people seem to be when I do that, and I'm not sure if it's just because of their perception of me, because I've noticed it for a long time. And to me, it really comes across as there are a lot of people that aren't used to receiving a genuine compliment, being pumped up without competition, like a genuine compliment, trying to lift someone's spirit and boost morale and just help them have a better day. Well, I got it. It wasn't pretty though. I find that a little love goes a long way. Even if it's not reciprocal to me, I always hope that it's paid forward to someone else. Because even in those instances, the world is a little brighter, even just for a minute. Have you ever heard the saying, your light irritates their demons? In a lot of ways, that's true. And there will still be a lot of cases where you'll shine the light and you'll receive the opposite reaction. But the brighter we try to make every day, for as many people as we can, as genuinely as we can, and the more we continue to shine that light, the demons will have nowhere to hide. And we all have our own personal inner demons that we need to battle, but we'll never overcome them if we don't confront them. And to what Marina is saying in this song, like, that is part of what is so freeing about choosing love and choosing peace, choosing to do better, choosing to transform, choosing to see change as an opportunity.
It's a superpower in me. Can't you see? It set me free.
There are a lot of different ways that you can choose love without it being a romantic act. But I would also argue that in a lot of ways, choosing love is always a heroic act because there's such a vulnerability to it. Because there's always a risk that it won't be reciprocated. But if you're doing it for the right reasons, then it doesn't even matter. And that's truly an act of love. As long as your intentions are good and you're doing it for the right reason, that love will eventually be returned to you. So might as well keep shining bright, meatball head. Okay, so I'm really happy with how that turned out. That was really fun to play. It's pretty easy, but it's very interesting because there's a lot of movement to it. So it does keep you on your toes a little bit. It doesn't feel overly repetitive. It does feel challenging, but it is fairly easy to get through. So another good one to learn how to play if you're just trying to learn, or like me, just playing chords with one hand. Well, chords that are supposed to be played on one hand with two hands. So thank you for joining me, and until next time, keep the peace and keep rocking on.